This podcast is part of E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience.
David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it, you can qualify it through a variety of methods, time, people, places, and things. But at its heart and at its core, the Auburn experience is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it, though, is if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing today here on episode 166 of the Auburn Experience podcast. As always, I'm your host, Kyle Loomis, continuing to getting better and better every day, somewhat with his sickness and cough. I'll try to cough a little bit less this time around. And back with my co-host, who is continuing to be the non-sick one on this show, Mr. Austin Scott. Welcome back, sir.
Well, thank you. Knock on wood, big time, because there's never a moment where you're too safe in the stage of life I'm in, as well as others. So
Yeah.
You just never know, and so I'm thankful to be healthy right now, and we'll see how long it lasts.
Absolutely. I know it feels like once a quarter we get like one day where you're either just barely hanging on and you are just so gracious to join us on this show, or you're just like, I can't go, man. I can't. I'm literally picking out my guts at this point.
Well, that's how you've been the last couple weeks, so you
Well,
you get it.
It's been a little bit rough go, but we're here, and I've had to have this happen all in the middle of all of the March Madness goodness. If there had to be a year where Auburn was not in the March Madness tournament, this was the year for it, because it's been a crazy time here personally with sickness and other busy things and so you know what, I'm not saying that I'm happy that Auburn missed out on March Madness, Austin, but there are some silver linings to moments like this, if
Sure.
I can make it all make sense. I don't know what that does for the Auburn family and their state of mind about not being in March Madness, but for me personally, I think I'm good. I'm not good. I've made peace with it. How about that?
Sure.
That's where I'm
Understandable. I think that the rest of the Auburn family might sacrifice your piece to be in the tournament. But we're good. We're glad it's good for you.
It sounds like what you're saying is the Auburn family would rather me be just bedridden right now and be in March Madness, is what I'm hearing. Basically, I'm the one that's going to have to suffer. And I would do that for the Auburn family. Listen, if I could change things, I would. I would absolutely be sick right now, still fully sick, if we could be in the March Madness tournament. But I digress. That's a little bit, out there and all that kind of stuff. I know. Look, we got lots to talk about this evening, and we got lots to dive into.
Apparently, that's things that I'm just figuring out right now. And we're now back on the actual mic thing. I had Austin do his mic check, but Kyle didn't do his mic check. See, this is one of the residual effects of being sick. Enough, Kyle. Stop talking about the sickness thing. Let's talk about Auburn stuff. Since it is March Madness things, Austin, I got to ask you one question. How's your bracket doing?
It's solid. It's not great.
Really?
It's not fantastic, but it's solid. I feel I'm in the upper parts of most of the groups I'm in. I just checked before we got on here. I'm 29th in our E2C group, which is not terrible.
Right here with you.
That. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. Just missed some ones that I had the gut feeling on. Something I'm proud of. I got every 8-9 game correctly. And nice. Those to me are the hardest.
Yeah, well, because toss up pretty much.
You toss up, and so I'm feeling okay. Now Brooks and Barrett, not so good. They have no more points available, so they're done.
It reminded me how they picked. Was it just like by mascots or something, or which one's closest to Auburn?
Some mascots, some colors, mascots that were able to either visually be able to explain or just went with colors on some. Brooks, big fan of the St. Louis Billiken. Thought he was very cool. Picked him to go all the way. He lost yesterday. Barrett rode the Miami, Ohio train. He was all in on him. Thought they could shoot their way to it, and they're both well out of it now. But the first time they've really done their own individually. I've grouped them together in the past, so it was a good one.
Yeah, listen, I think it's been a year of right down the middle March Madness bracket for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started off really strong. In fact, I flipped 2 upset picks at the last second, I had them correct, and I switched them, in the last minute before
always the
everything went live.
worst.
And isn't that the worst thing? Is like I let people get in my head and make me change them, and so then day one I would have had one wrong, and it was I think it was everybody got that one wrong, whichever, I can't remember off the top of my head.
High point.
No, I did have High Point. I think I called that one, believe it or not. I think that's the one of the ones.
I don't know.
Nope, you're right. That is one of the ones. Anyway, I would have had a great day one. Day two would have been fine. But then, there's been a couple things here lately that have been going on in the bracket. But anyway, I hope everybody's having fun with it. We're having our bracket contest going on. $50 alumni hall gift card. Someone's going to get that at the end of this thing. It ain't going to be me either way, but I would take the bragging rights. Somehow I made it to this point. But it's been, I will say, we already talked about Austin with March Madness, not Auburn in it. It's been, I want to say refreshing is not the right word. It's just been kind of back to what we're used to, of not having to stress about how this affects Auburn in it. You can just sit back and enjoy the games for what they are, and truly just go, I want chaos. Even if my bracket suffers, I want the chaos in this. And there's not been that much of it, let's be honest. I mean, I think the highest seed we've got left is 9. Am I correct?
I think that's right. Yeah, it's been pretty chalky. And I agree with you. I was a little concerned last week on our show that I wouldn't really lean into it quite as much because Auburn's not in it, and we've gotten used to that. I did find myself Thursday and Friday, which look, I love Saturday and Sunday, but Thursday and Friday are the days of the NCAA tournament. And Saturday and Sunday, even right now, you're like, there's 2 or 3 games on together at the same time. It's fine. Thursday and Friday, when there's like a consensus from like noon to midnight, 4 games on at all times, is the best time. And I was fully into it by then. So I enjoyed it. And it's been chalky, but no shortage of drama and some great basketball.
It has been good so far. The one good thing about March Madness and Auburn not being in it, there's always connections, right? I mean, there's players that Auburn used to have. Trey Donaldson with Miami now. There's that. But no matter how much they want to act like, Auburn didn't deserve to be in March Madness, they can't break away from having us be associated, whether it's discussions about us. I mean, they can't stop talking about
They can't
Auburn.
stop. Most of us have moved on, okay? The rest of you need to.
Exactly. But also, let's be honest, Auburn not only was always going to have one major celebrity as part of the commentary crew, you got 2 now, BP and Chuck. So you cannot escape Auburn. And they're literally on 2 different crews on the CBS teams or whatever it is. Yeah. And so no matter where you go, you cannot escape Auburn. We are March Madness, even when we're not in the tournament, because y'all have to stare at Brad. I almost said Butch. The sickness.
Bruce Pearl.
And y'all can be mad at him for all you want, but he was correct in a lot of things that he said. And then you got Chuck just being Chuck over there. So look, the Auburn goodness still abounds in there. It's just not in the playing format. And it's fine if we take a year off, right? Like, that's okay.
It's fine. It's fine. Everybody doesn't want to see Charles's desk decorated to the nines like normal. But he's still there. I think Kenny Smith has been taking a sabbatical since North Carolina got upset. So Charles is still there and taking it all in. So we'll claim him, and we're glad to have him.
Look, Charles is coming to his own as an ambassador for Auburn with age and time as that's gone on, and just for himself and in other things that he does in general. But he certainly from time to time says some things that are quite interesting, and you go, oh, sure. Charles, oh no. But that's what you get. That's what makes Charles Barkley so interesting. And I would say that these days, Bruce tends to have a little bit of that element too, where you kind of hear him say some things and you're like, oh, why? And we're not talking about politics or anything. I'm just talking about with this controversy of what he said about some mid-majors and things like that. And it's almost like he knew what he was talking about. I'm just going to say, let's just talk about that for a second. But
and let's not forget he's coached at every level of this sport. So, maybe he has an idea more than some of the rest of you. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. All right. Well, that's enough March Madness talk, but we will talk about some post game and not I guess it would be post game, but postseason Auburn basketball stuff here in just a minute. Or I guess we could do it now. I think that's the order that I put it in. Auburn potpourri. Let's just jump into it. We've been doing March Madness stuff, so let's talk about the real tournament, the first tournament that there ever was in college basketball per their own marketing, and that is the NIT. And your Auburn Tigers not only said, you know what, we're going to not only be last season the #1 overall seed in the actual NCAA tournament, we're going to go to the original tournament this year and go ahead and check off the box of being yet again, I think this is the second time, right? Like the #1 overall seed again. Like let's just say that's what this whole plan was this entire season, to go ahead and be able to say that we're blue bloods of college basketball no matter what tournament we're in. #1 overall seed. That's how I'm choosing to look at it, Austin, and you can't shake me from it.
Sure. Well, I'll join you in that then. Yeah. Well, I mean, we broke down their first game last week ahead of the #1 seed getting to host. We said last week, you keep winning, you get 3 home games, 3 more chances to see the Auburn Tigers in Neville Arena. I think it even had come out while we were on air that it's going to be $25 for general admission. You get to sit wherever you want, and there's not a bad seat in the house. And so they got to that first game was Tuesday night against South Alabama. Kyle and I sat together for a good portion of it. We had pretty much the whole top deck to ourselves.
And he had to listen to me cough like every 5 seconds. So yeah,
I wasn't going to mention it, but we had a great time. We had a good bird's eye view. We saw Caden Magwood's coming out party, I guess.
How about that? And
good for him. And look, they've won again. And now they're going to get the third game we all talked about. So there you go.
Awesome. Listen, yeah. So if you want just the deets right now, Auburn in NIT bracket, first game, South Alabama, 78-67. And they just 30 minutes ago wrapped up, a little more than that, a game versus Seattle University. No, not the Seattle Seahawks. I feel like there's somebody who probably made that mistake out there somehow. But Seattle University, that's quite a trip. You got to come all the way down.
Yeah, that like the trip to come from Seattle to Auburn. I don't know much about Seattle University. I would bet that's a decent chunk of the athletic budget there.
A little rough, and to have it look like Auburn was going to run away with this, they end up winning 91-85. A little bit interesting at the end. They decided that they were just going to make all their threes at the end.
Right.
So here we sit with Auburn in the NIT, 2 wins in. As you said, 3 games at home as the #1 overall seed you would have, and if you continue to make it that way. So there's 1 more left, and Auburn will host Nevada for the final game at home court situations before this goes to Indianapolis for the semifinals and the championships. Again, if Auburn were to – somebody's going, but if Auburn were to make it, that's where they would be. So, Austin, what are you thinking about? Like, what – I know that first game and first half of that game was pretty rough.
Yeah.
I think the first half of this game was pretty strong, especially defensively. There's another storyline out there too amongst that you can touch on. But like, what are you feeling now that we have settled into? We're in the NIT. We're done. Or I hope most people are done being mad about it. But where are you at with this?
Well, I mean, yeah, they came out and they decided, the first half, like you said, was a bit rough. They let South Alabama kind of come out and show they wanted it more a little bit before Auburn kind of imposed their will athletically, talently, and just decided to say, let's show something of ourselves here. And now I think you're at the point where it's competition. And that's what Stephen Pearl has said is it's another chance for us to compete. And that's where they're at. That's where we see what they've been able to do. And the first half today was more of the same in the second half of South Alabama game. And now it's looking like if you could just put those together, we can see Auburn maybe walk through this thing and see if they can bring home another banner. So you got a chance against Nevada. It's going to be a team Auburn's never played, so that's exciting news. Never played them in basketball before. Shout out, check it off the list. And so I think that you have to be excited for that. I think that there's a chance. I'm not sure how attendance was today. I didn't go today. I went.
It sounded and looked better on the TV, but
on a Saturday, you would hope so.
Sunday,
excuse me. On a weekend, you would hope so. But we'll have to see. And but I think it's really going to be a good chance for Auburn people to get their last final home game in Neville Arena. And you mentioned the storyline. Keyshawn Murphy opted not to play in the NIT. But I think you have to look at some of the what's the word I'm looking for here?
I
Some
don't know.
of the adversity
There you go.
that they had to overcome with doing that, and being able to still play. Philip Jovic getting a lot more big minutes and doing just fine with it. So looking forward to seeing more of how this team develops and how young guys maybe
Yeah.
state their case for coming back next year.
Should we talk about Keyshawn Murphy, or do you feel like doing it? Or I mean,
You know what? I don't think there's a lot of intel out there about it other than just he decided not to. I think we've all seen the kind of things on Auburn plans to, uphold their end of maybe an NIL agreements and make sure that that paycheck doesn't clear. To me, that makes a lot of sense. If you would miss a work shift, you don't get paid for it. So
what they wanted. This is what the student athletes wanted.
To be treated like employees. I guess the side of it we could say is it's disappointing. I would have liked to see Keyshawn Murphy finish his time with Auburn. It certainly looked like he was fond of being an Auburn Tiger, and I'm saying he isn't. Mm-hmm. Some of the players seem to kind of be coming to his defense. So I just don't think there's a lot of both sides out there right now. We don't really know what happened fully, but certainly hope that they are ending on good terms. And, in the words of one of our favorites, we wish him the best.
Exactly. So I explained my thoughts on this on the post-game show of the South Alabama game, but I'll reiterate them here. I want to acknowledge right at the start of this, we don't know why. Coach has not shared anything. The teammates have been publicly pretty supportive of him and his decision to not do that. We have to always recognize as fans that we don't have all the information. However, it does not look good. Let's just be honest about it. Like on the surface, this looks pretty obvious what might have happened. This is a decision maybe just not feeling it, and there's no connections with me left here, kind of thing. That's what it looks like. And it's hard to not make that case. And unfortunately, it brings out the fringes of the bad part of the fan base, because frankly, I've said this on our actual social media. Like, we spend a lot of time fighting against some of the worst of our fan base and the way they speak about these people on social media. And this doesn't help, because it gives them almost righteous fuel to the fire. And so it's frustrating. We don't know all the information. This is one of those times we're not entitled to know why, but I wish we could know why. It just feels so out of character, like, to me, from what I've gotten to know of Keyshawn Murphy. And so I have to always leave room for the benefit of the doubt situation with that. It's just difficult with this one. And I think he would just be tearing it up right now if he would be here. But
I think so too. The reality is he's not out there. And I think it says a lot about that Auburn's been able to do what they've done against lesser talent. But they've been able to do what they've done and keep winning. Let's hope it continues. And it's unfortunate, but really proud of the way this team's responded against some pesky teams. And now they'll get one more before the rest of the NIT goes underway, and maybe a trip to Indianapolis.
Yep, absolutely. Lots left on the table for them, and they're finding a way. I put this post out about the team, after what they've been through this season. The majority of them are still there. They're still fighting, and that deserves some respect from every aspect of this fan base. And I hope that you'll continue to give that to them, because they're out there still playing for something that does matter. One last thing in the basketball space that I think became more of a big topic than it needed to be this week was the celebration of Mr. Stephen Pearl being as a first-year head coach, getting the most wins of any other Auburn basketball coach in our program's history. And that is something to be celebrated. In fact, he's now adding to his total with 19 as of the win today versus Seattle. And he has 3 more games. So he can be at 22 as a first-year head coach. Look at me doing math for the first time on the show. It's almost like, I don't know, I'm getting better or something. Probably not. That's just a one-time fluke. But that's something they put out. There was a lot of consternation about that. Was this serious? And there were a lot of larger media types that never speak up about very rarely speak up directly about Auburn basketball topics that really push this forward about, is this a troll or is this like somehow a legit thing? I found that to be really weird. And I have no problems with someone having an opinion that's different from me in this regard. But to me, that's what you do. When someone makes history, you celebrate it no, usually there's always exceptions. No matter what the context of it is, this is a marker in the program's history and for the individual of Stephen Pearl that's worth noting. And so I found it to be very appropriate, and I think that they should have done it. In fact, I hope they make some more graphics. I'll be honest with you about this one.
Yeah, it was a weird situation altogether. I don't think anyone's denying it's not optimal timing. I mean, I don't think any. Well, of course, I think Auburn Athletics would have loved to put this out after beating Tennessee in the SEC tournament, or after beating Mississippi State in the SEC tournament, had they won against Ole Miss at home toward the end of the year,
or you just go down the line.
Yeah, Auburn would have liked to put this out 18 games into the season when he goes ahead and makes 18 wins to become the all-time. So I think a lot of people looked at it and said, "Oh, this is Auburn. We're going to stand behind our guy and we're going to show you." And that's kind of what I do think. There's an element to that, but I also think this is not as big of a deal as a lot of people made it out to be. It's something that any program is going to celebrate. It shows that Stephen Pearl did something that's not been done at Auburn for someone who's had a lot of criticism this year, and shows to the public that there's a steadiness and that Auburn is doing something right with Stephen Pearl and believes that they can do more. And you have to sell that to recruits and to transfers and guys and donors and all those people who have heard just garbage about Auburn basketball for the last month. So I think it was calculated, but I also think it was very mundane, and that any program was going to put out, hey, the coach we ended up hiring, which, by the way, when we did it, was ultimately had a lot of backlash. Yeah, he's now in his first year has won more games than anyone else in our program's history in their first year.
Yep.
That's something to be proud of. I don't care what your last name is, and I don't care how you did it or if you made the tournament or not.
This is not a conversation if his last name's not Pearl.
I wish I could go find, because I bet you there is someone else who did that this year at the program they're at. Mm-hmm. And I don't have the time and energy and desire to go entertain these people who make a big deal out of it to say, why didn't you bring up this one? But it's a non-issue, and it's a non-conversation. Oh my gosh. It's a non-conversation. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You got me all choked up over here too.
How far did you have Florida going?
Pretty far.
Big. So it's just not that big of a deal, and people love to make it a big deal. We talked in our Conquer Club this week about like kind of just bounced off opinions of it. I don't care to talk super in depth about it, but I'm someone who came from that world of college marketing and social media and things. And the best thing that happened for Auburn is that it did go viral, and they don't care that the people call it the trolls, because I think last I looked, it had like 2 million views. That's a great number. Somebody's getting a pat on the back for today. So it just really is not as big of a deal, but in true Auburn fashion, we decided to make something a very big deal that's not.
And here's the thing too. You have to remember that there's a big push, especially this week, if you look at other sports and stuff too, of let's dunk on Auburn. It's a popular thing right now. We can stir up their fan base, get our own engagement going. You have to remember those types of things. I don't have the gentleman's name off the top of my head. It was clear engagement farming when this individual who never speaks on Auburn, I've never seen a tweet about Auburn basketball from this person. He's a football recruiting specialist, and somehow he chooses now to speak up on this. Like that's just engagement farming. That's all it is. You have to be wise about these. Don't let them bait you into these things. Anyway, that's enough of that. We do have some final things we want to talk about in Auburn Potpourri. Got some really good news this week, and in a week of, there's plenty of good things this week. This really warms my heart, because this is about a very special part of my adolescence, of a special football team and a special individual that means a lot to me personally. And that is Jason Campbell. He has gotten his accolades. He's a national champion now. So I think that's probably all that truly matters for him personally, if we're just being honest here. But I'm sure this is a big deal too. He got the announcement this week that he will be added to this year's Senior Bowl Hall of Fame class. And I don't think you could find very many other well-deserving, athletically, quality, human-wise. I don't know Jason personally. I've had very limited interactions with him, but just don't get the impression that I would be disappointed the more I got to know him. And so to me, I just love this. I love that Jason Campbell is still getting the accolades. I love that he's still here at Auburn. He's now right there with Andy Burcham in the booth. My little Auburn heart of the 2004s just can't take it anymore, Austin. And this isn't even about me. This is about Jason. Like, I just needed this week. And so I'm so happy he got this honor.
Yeah, a very true ambassador of Auburn. Works with On to Victory, works with, like you said, Andy Burcham on the broadcast crew, is always around. He was at, you and I saw him at the basketball game, courtside next to Stephen Pearl for the NIT first round. Just a true Auburn ambassador and very deserving, obviously, for all his accolades on the field. But we certainly know that he is very deserving off the field too. So congratulations to him. Well deserved, and I'm sure it's one of many Hall of Fame mentions for him, but definitely worth it.
Absolutely. And look, I think if you're part of that 2004 team, you're instantly thrust up into the tops of these lists and stuff like that. But that doesn't take away from the great things that you have accomplished throughout the season. And also, the Senior Bowl, I know is not everybody's like big thing out there, but this is a great honor because that's part of that legacy and that great ending to that amazing season and team, that 2004 team. So congrats to Jason Campbell. Last thing here, and I know we've just been like pounding you guys with like track and field news, but that's what we do here. We want you guys to have a more well-rounded Auburn experience. And I thought this week that the Auburn track and field social media accounts did a great job of helping people understand why you need to be paying attention to this program. We just started outdoor season. They were at the Georgia Tech Invitational. Great things already happening there. Somebody has like the 4th fastest time in the program or
Crazy.
Something like it's something big like that. It wasn't even THARP that did it. But I want to go back to what they posted, which was an indoor recap to just help you understand how great this is, what they're doing right now. In indoor season for 26, excuse me, they had 2 NCAA individual champions, 2 collegiate records, 1 meet record, and it's part of the championship of that, 2 school records, 8 All-Americans. So that's big enough in and of itself. The last piece that I want to sell you on why this is such a big deal for Auburn, why this is such a big deal for the track and field program. And Auburn has a really good track and field history. If you don't know who, Coach Hutzel and Mel Rosen, all that,
right.
Like that, that's a big deal. Here's the other thing. And I know some people are going to probably scoff at this, but they hand out trophies for 4th place. Apparently so. I don't make the rules, but we're going to celebrate it. Auburn track and field has, for 4 essentially seasons in a row, placed and won a trophy dating back to the 2004 outdoors, the 2005 indoors, 2005 outdoors, and now the 2006 indoors. So we still have 2006 outdoors to go. It could be 5 after this, but this is already
you
history.
do mean, I know that we were loving our 2004 talk, but you do mean 2026.
Thank you. See, I told you math was going to get me at some point on this show. I already spent all my currency.
Everybody's like, we're talking about 2006 track.
You know how hard it is for me to get all the numbers right on this show, and I think, but that's the first time in program history that has occurred. 4 straight seasons in a row where Auburn has placed and won a trophy in men's track and field specifically. So that's huge. That's awesome.
Yeah,
so
it's massive, and it's huge. And that program doesn't get as much love as it should, even though it ends the year, and we keep talking about how close that team has been to a national championship and how close they are.
Like 4 points away, I think is what it was. A couple of
I think it was 2 at one point. Like it's been close. And so give them the respect they deserve and give them the chance to see that this is a sustained success team. Pulling Leroy Burrell is still a massive win for Auburn track and field. To leave his alma mater at Houston and to come to the SEC, and he's picked up right where he left off at Houston, just doing phenomenal things. So it is only a matter of time before we are talking about big things and we are seeing logos and celebrations downtown for this team. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is already a great start to the 2026 seasons. And so we'll see how they continue on. But just wanted to note that for how this is something that you need to be paying attention to this spring if you're an Auburn sports fan. All right, so for potpourri, that's going to wrap it up. We got to jump into the major topics as Austin tries to also balance not watching March Madness and the shenanigans. Would you just like to update people what's happened? Like, just...
Well, as I got done saying how chalky this tournament has been, is that what you mean?
Yes.
The Gators are down. The Gators are over. They're out.
They're out.
There will be no repeat national champion this year,
which is a beautiful thing because we haven't had the fondest feelings for the Gators.
A true bracket buster though here in the second round.
There it is. That we were all waiting for it. It just took to the last night of round 2 to get something going there. And so there's something for you as an Auburn fan. We can be toxic about it. Gator fans, you can get your feelings hurt if you want. We're going to you celebrated when we got knocked out, and we're going to celebrate that we took it you in your house this year and that you got your butts beat by Iowa. Come on. Like, what's going on here? All right.
And now we're pulling for Red Raiders, baby.
Well, yeah, I mean, I am, but I'm just not expecting much. So, because they don't have JT Toppin. Anyway, well, this is not
okay. Don't get all down on it. It's not that. Come on, Kyle.
I tell myself that it's not going to happen, so that when it does, I'm just happy. Okay, well, that's all.
That's not the sunshine way.
That's not the sunshine way, and I've got to probably balance it so that I don't hit my quota for being called sunshine pumper too early. I got to pace myself.
You can have a double Eagle day.
Double Eagle day would be amazing, because Georgia got their butts handed to them in the first round. It was amazing. All right. Anyway, let's get back to the plan at hand here as we go off of the rails. We got to talk about the Diamonds this week. The Diamonds being baseball and softball. It's going to be more baseball heavy.
Yeah, because we got that weird softball schedule that always takes. It's so dumb.
Let's just start here. Like, what happened? Like, why are we not playing SEC baseball?
It makes no sense why they do this. Softball. And I know it's because they don't have all the teams, and it's the same as women's basketball too. But it's like, it makes no sense. Just start later. Just start the conference season later. One more weekend to give you another invitational, and just play. It's bizarre that we're not playing SEC softball on a beautiful weekend in Auburn, Alabama. By the way,
it was awesome, absolutely awesome. Now they did play this week, and they were part of a great midweek here at Auburn for the Diamonds week. I mean, they got 2 wins on the week, one versus South Alabama on the same day as another different sport beat South Alabama. So they got that ball rolling, so to speak, 11-2. They also beat Jack State. That one was at Auburn. The other one was down in Mobile, 10-3. So, I mean, look, I think the biggest note of this week, other than taking care of the business you're supposed to take care of, that's just the expectation, even though you respect the midweek opponents in baseball and softball. You handle business. Just a special note that Ella Harrison reached 300 career strikeouts this week. So that's probably something cool to throw on top of there. I think obviously we're all itching because of the Oklahoma series not going the way we wanted it to. We're all wanting a little bit more Auburn softball. And I think that's why it irks us so much, Austin, that there is no SEC softball week, that thing for us to talk about on this show this week. But it'll be back, and we'll jump back into it. So I want to see the rest of what's going to happen with the year 2 of the Malvos and the SEC, because I feel like there's some exciting things coming. I hope I'm not going to jinx them, though.
Well, yeah, I think you're right. And I was just taking a look to make sure I knew. But next weekend is Missouri, and it's at home. And it's called Malvo Mania. So, I mean, that's as good as chance as any to get the Malvo era another good SEC series weekend. So it'll be back soon. Pickleball night is versus Florida A&M on Monday. So no idea what that means, but I'm sure that's going to be a good time too. But certainly looking forward. I felt like there was an opportunity with some things we'll talk about here this weekend, or that happened this weekend, to kind of balance them both off. Just the cards didn't fall that way for the scheduling purposes. So I hate we're not on campus as well.
No, it would have been nice, because what a weather week and what a special midweek it was. Which brings us to, what a week for Auburn baseball. Now, certainly we're going to talk about the fullness of the week and not just pretend like everything was hunky-dory, because they did not end up winning the series versus Texas. Texas did find a way to win the last 2 games. We'll get to all the details about that. But we have so much to just break down in Auburn baseball this week. We have got fan stuff. We have got just the record attendance. We've got mega matchups, the history of Auburn and Georgia Tech together. So let's start right there. Auburn, Georgia Tech is what started you off this week. A top 5 matchup. Auburn, now there's like 5 different rankings. Remember this. So Auburn in most rankings was a 4. Yeah. And then Georgia Tech was a 3. So and I found it interesting. I categorize it as an upset. It's an upset if you're below them, folks. I'm sorry to like this is so close to me. It shouldn't be an upset. It's an upset. Stop being the fact that people focus so much on that as opposed to celebrating the win. Just why are you people so miserable? I'm sorry. I'm getting my soapbox. I do not understand people on social media sometimes. Just enjoy the flip and post and win. Stop complaining about everything and trying to correct people. My gosh. And have something to be right about if you're going to correct people. All right.
You got that. You got that off your chest. You good?
I didn't know I had that in me. Maybe it's because I'm jazzed up because Florida just lost or something like that. And now I'm just really amped up. But
yeah, there you go.
Anyway, the point is Auburn, Georgia Tech, top 5 matchup, 4 versus 3 in most of the things. Auburn not only shows out fan wise, setting a midweek record in attendance.
And that weather was not as nice.
It was not. And I was outside the stadium. I was there for other reasons, but I chose to go to PPL, the AU PPL, the AU Plainsman parking lot, and watch from there. And it was very cold up there as well, but it was so much fun and kind of boring towards the end there because it was really exciting in that very long first inning. But Auburn wins 9-2 and sets a precedent for the week with how exciting this was all going to be. And it just built to a fever pitch until the weekend. So what do you think that Georgia Tech win means? That what's your just take of the Georgia Tech win before we move on to the other stuff?
Well, the highest ranked matchup in Plainsman Park history for a few days. And they moved the game up because of weather and the NIT starting that night. Just a whole traffic was a cluster. And so there was just a lot of things going on, but the attendance record was incredible. So many people showed up to a 4 p.m. first pitch. And I think that there was a lot of buzz about this Auburn team. And now that they've seen them play some good opponents and play some good teams and do well against them, how do they do against a top level team just like them? And Georgia Tech was your first crack at that. That first top of the first, Georgia Tech gets on the board. It's like, oh boy, was this all for naught? And Auburn broke the door down after that, and takes down Georgia Tech, and that's a rivalry to me. I've said this before. I went on my long soapbox last week about how just get Missouri out of here and bring me Georgia Tech all day. But that's a rivalry, and that one means something. It'll be crazy in Atlanta in 10 days or whatever. So that's to have that atmosphere for Auburn baseball. Sure, I think it helps that it's something fans want to go cling to after missing the tournament and grab the next thing and jump on the momentum. But that it made all the difference and was a really special time, even in that cold weather, to see Auburn Plainsman Park as full as it was in that kind of atmosphere for something that's never happened before.
And had the team show up the way they did. I mean, once again, midweek pitching was great, settled into the game nicely, and the bat showed up and showed out. It was just a lot of fun. Fans, players, everything was great about the midweek. Even the parking and the traffic situation, which I somehow, Austin, made my way through magically, because that's all I heard is, how did you get into the parking den? And I was like, I just drove. Like I didn't know that there was issues. Apparently there was issues galore. And you would understand with moving the game time up, classes getting out. There's going to be an NIT game that not many of you attended, but should have, later in the day. So it was a recipe for what could have been a really bad day, but it was a lot of fun with all the things that were working around it, which brings us to the weekend. You have that mega matchup again. Auburn, still the records or the rankings are the same. Number 4, essentially. Number 2, essentially. Texas Longhorns are coming to town. And not only do you have the fever pitch of what's going to, you see what I did there?
I did.
I didn't even do that one. You have that building towards this matchup. We'll talk about it a little bit more detail in a second. There's a new fan experience that's thrown on top of this. And you just know instantly, not only do we just knock out the midweek record attendance, we're about to knock out every other record that's been in Auburn baseball history. And again, credit goes to Rhett Hobart and his team for not only making you want to be a part of it, but giving you more things to experience there and continue to expand what you can hold in terms of capacity and things like that. So this is your breakdown of the weekend here. Auburn has a win in the first game versus Texas, 4-3, but they do lose 6-7, nearly came back in the second game. Today, it's don't do that. Don't do that. You just made me so angry. I'm gonna rant on you just like I did on the people trying to argue with me about the Georgia Tech win being a upset. Oh my gosh,
I
that makes
thought
me
you were
so.
going to say it when you didn't say it. It lost 7-6. I knew it was coming.
Yeah, you'll make me so angry with that. I hate that thing so much. Anyway, moving on. Loss today, 5-0. The Bats were not able to show up. So Auburn does lose the series. So that does put a damper on things a whole lot. But I want to focus on that game one, and rightfully so, because it is as we talked about, pun intended, fever pitch of what's been building up all week. Night game. The weather's just starting to get really nice right then. The attendance record was going to be broken that night for the first time for the weekend games. And then you have this game just build towards the ninth inning where Auburn finds itself in a situation where it can win the game. You have, what was the player's name for Texas that hit the home run?
Robbins is the center fielder. I don't remember his first name. It was Robbins or Rollins was his last name.
Now, he gave the business, from what I understand, was it to the fans or to the players as he rounded, thinking he had put his team in position to win? Which one did he do?
I think it was more the fans. I think in particular out there in center field where he played in center field, which I'm all for fun, and I'm sure he heard a lot of things that night, and of course that was an emotional response, but you got to kind of back it up at all times. And
well, he did. To be fair, he backed it up in a certain way. What he did not have was back up for his something that was going to happen. So he set this whole thing up, folks, where he, put his team ahead. By the ninth, Auburn gets runners on, and so you're just wondering, are we going to hit a home run to win this thing? No. What happens is it bases loaded, right, or was it just
bases loaded for Bristol Carter? Yep,
bases loaded for Bristol Carter. He hits one right up the middle to center field. It should be a routine, only a couple runs score at max.
It's going to tie the game. You feel good it's tying the game. Yep.
Straight wickets.
Straight through the wickets.
It goes through the same player who's just giving people the business, and he lets it go straight through his legs and goes all the way to the backstop, and Auburn wins the game. So it was just perfect. It was awesome. You almost wonder, Austin, was it just so juicy and delicious that's why the rest of the weekend couldn't go the way we wanted it to, because we spent it all on Friday night? That's what it felt like to me, because we had it great for so long, dating back to Tuesday. That's what I'm.
Yeah, well, that's a fair argument, and I think that there was so much going into that weekend. Everybody was so excited about that Friday night game, and then the center fielder hits a bomb, and the kid can hit. He had two more the rest of the weekend, and a slew of other balls around the field. But just an absolute bomb, and you think, Auburn did it. Marciano had an incredible game, and they held it as long as they could, but the Texas, the Stars found their way. And then some Auburn magic happens with Bristol Carter getting an absolute wonderful hit. And I think a lot of people making a lot of the error, because the error certainly allowed the win, but Bristol Carter ties the game. If the center fielder makes the play and keeps his glove on the ground like we're all taught from 4 years old, it's still a two-run single, two-run double, and gets Auburn tied at the very least. Straight through the wickets, though, to give Auburn a walk-off win, and the place went bananas.
It was, I wish that is the one regret that I had not being able to come to Auburn this weekend, was just not even being in the parking deck to watch the just sheer mayhem that ensued after that. So it was great.
I did think about our buddy Sam. I was like, could we have gotten Sam on the live stream?
Shout out to Sam here on the show tonight. We had a interesting live reaction from him for another exciting game this last year, and it was unintended, but surely it was a fun time. So maybe we'll have one of those in the future here. I do want us to spend last bit of time here on this segment talking about another great thing that is being added to the Auburn experience, really the fan part of it. We've always credited where deserved, and always it's deserved, to Rhett Hobart and his team for finding ways to, monetize things and help produce what they're supposed to produce, make revenue for that, but to create pluses for Auburn fans. And they announced this week that they were going to, for the remainder of the season, is my understanding, Austin, please correct me if I'm wrong, on Saturdays, they're going to be creating what is called as Plainsman Plaza. And at least it was this Saturday. Maybe I have that wrong, but it is essentially a pregame block party. And this, just to give you an example, what happened during this week, they had the plaza opened several hours before the game. They had a tiger walk for the players, and I didn't get to see any of that, but I hope that went really well, because I think that's a really cool new thing that doesn't happen a whole lot in baseball. Then the ballpark obviously will open. You can see, and then just the traditional thing of that. But with all this block party set up, they've got things for the kids, the family. They've got TV set up for the rest of college baseball that's happening that day, and I'm sure other sporting events too. So what it created, Austin, you had to have your game ticket to get into this, was a basically tailgating atmosphere for baseball, which I love. And I think we should do more of those type of things for sports outside of football. So you had a firsthand experience somewhat, got to see it a little bit. Anything you want to add to that, what you thought about it?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a unique atmosphere. I attended 2 games this weekend. You can probably guess, and much to the, I'm sure, joy of our listening fan base, you can guess which 2 games I attended. But the
coincidence? I think not.
One was Saturday with Plainsman Plaza, and I got to attend it. We had planned to take the boys, and we had planned to kind of have them enjoy it as well, until we realized the night before, or maybe the morning of, that ticket entry was required. So this was an extension of the stadium, if you will. You did not go in the normal gates. The gates had been moved out, security things and all. Scanners and all those were moved out almost to the intersection of Heisman and Donahue. So it spread people out. It was warm, but not too bad. And then you just see there's a golf simulator. There's 4 food trucks, and at the end there's a giant screen with very reminiscent of Jungle Village. Sure, the screen out there with NCAA tournament games on. So a very atmosphere. There was a photo booth, just all kinds of things of just hanging out before the game. Your chance to eat some food, hang out with people, and do your thing as you lead up to the game, and I'm sure get people in without it being so much of a bottleneck of people trying to get into the stadium. Like you mentioned, there was a tiger walk for the players. Neat. About it's no football tiger walk. Sure. But there, right. you can go check out the video.
You pay to get in that, so.
Sure. Go check out the video from Auburn Baseball, though. It does give a good point of view version. You can use your little hints to find me, because I'm in there. And then after that, they actually had the stairs to the seating roped off until 4:30. I think to kind of encourage people to be a part of that tiger walk. And then once from there, it was just everybody getting ready for the game, and kind of more people than you're used to an hour and a half before first pitch, just hanging out in the stadium, but built up that pent up emotion. So I'm not sure if it will be. I don't remember. I didn't look hard for it, but I don't recall if it'll be something every Saturday. I think they'd be wise to do it if they can. Of course, they shut down the main part of the road for a time. But a very unique opportunity, and something I've never seen done for Auburn baseball. So I hope it can build. I feel like there's opportunities to have maybe other food trucks or more, things that can enhance it. I do think that, and I get why it's a ticketed event, but I do think it has the potential to do something where you just make it something people just want to be a part of, whether they're coming or not. After the game had started, they changed that big screen to be the E2C Network stream of the baseball game. So I feel like you have an opportunity for people who just want to come and maybe eat their food from the food trucks and just watch the game while being right outside. That's no different than what we've seen before with certain Auburn football games and things like that. So I think it can build, and I think it's got a chance to be a bigger thing. But certainly for this time, it was very cool and a very first thing to see.
And let's be honest here. I mean, Auburn's well positioned right now to be hosting at least an NCAA regional.
True.
And maybe a super regional as well if things continue to build. And so this could be a good test run of when you're hosting 4 different teams for a NCAA regional situation. That is a good opportunity to test these things out. So I just like them trying new things and trying to incorporate more of the Auburn experience. I love that they're trying to get the Tiger Walk thing going there too, because I think that's something that needs to be more prevalent outside of football as well. So I love it. I think it's a great, cool concept, and I can't. I hope I would say I can't wait. I don't have any plans, but I hope to experience a future one if they're planning to do that
The,
again.
ne-
So
the next weekend series is Arkansas.
yeah,
And I mean, that'll be another big, every weekend's big, but that'll be another big weekend. That's Easter weekend. So it'll be that weird Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. So you got a chance for game 3 to be a big Saturday Plainsman Plaza. So we'll have to see. We'll stay tuned to the Auburn baseball socials to see what they do for that. But
yep.
There's a chance this thing builds and is something new each time.
Yeah, absolutely. So lots of fun stuff this week in baseball. You just take your pick of the lot, even though it didn't end with how we want, but records and things. Real quick. I think I know we're going to go over on time, but I think we do need to touch on this part, Austin. Shout out to the Auburn baseball fans with the attendance records. You knocked down the midweek. We already talked about that. You, the first Friday night, set the attendance record for a single game on a weekend game. And then, that's just not enough, Austin. So you knew it was going to happen with this Plainsman Plaza situation. You have what would become the single game attendance record, which I believe was 8,037. 8,037. I had it pulled up and now it went away. But that was not enough. And you knew this was coming too, okay? Like, this is another one of those things when you have to back-to-back things like that, you were going to have the series record as well for Auburn baseball. And that amounted to, I got the little thing, the ticker coming up right now. Yeah. 22,295, 5 short of 22,300. Wow. Shout out to the Auburn fan base.
What does that not include?
What does that not include? The Plainsman parking lot.
Which there were plenty of people, thousands.
Can we just take a guess on how many?
I'm really bad at that kind of stuff.
That's why I'm asking.
I think you've got. I'll say 1,000 conservatively.
Okay.
But each tier, each third, the 3 tiers that you're able to see into the stadium, and then they had to shoo some people from risking their lives sitting over the stairwell a couple times, but they were all full on both sides, on both corners, maybe 1,500. So you're pushing 25,000 people. Well, that was just last night. That was just last night. So you're pushing 25,000 people.
Yeah,
pretty well. And I'm assuming the center field area was counted in this because I think that's general admission.
Students, so, and it's usually students too, I think. So
boy, were they rowdy. But
shout out to everybody though.
So tons of people at Auburn baseball and around Plainsman Park this weekend. And so records were, I'm sure, shattered.
Yeah, it's shattered everywhere. Midweek, weekend, doesn't matter. The Auburn family, that's Auburn being Auburn. We're going to reclaim that statement, but that is truly Auburn being Auburn. All right, final segment for the evening, which we're limited on time, but we'll get it in here. It is spring football time, Austin. We have made it to yet another mile marker on the march toward the return of college football, which we all desperately want. For the second it leaves, we all want it back. And yes, talking season is beginning, where there will be conversations of very limited value, but they will be had on social media. But it is nice to have now interviews, Q&As, press conferences from coaches, from players. You're getting from those media able to attend the practices. You're getting quick insights to drills and things like that, perspectives. So I think generally you walk away from this first week of spring practices feeling very good about the situation. It's just maybe fueled by the, hey, it's nice to be back type of situation. But what's your feeling? Like, are you feeling any differently? Or is it the same old, what you kind of expected with spring before we dive into some of the stories? How are you feeling about it?
Well, it's a new era. And so that's always brings something fun out to kind of see how things are done differently. I've really enjoyed the different creative aspects from video aspects from Auburn football put out this week and kind of see how different coaches are doing different things, even down to what different stickers and monikers are around the facility of how a new era of Auburn football looks. And I think it's
be who you say you are.
Be who you say you are. That's an elite. That's our thing now, right? How many times can we say elite?
I've been on my rant here, and I'm gonna let it slide for the Auburn football staff. I shouldn't have said it. I just gotta say, at some point, we're not all elite. Okay, like there's just we've dumbed it down, but. I'm not going to question it. Y'all do you. If that's what you want, you drill into these guys' heads and make them work, I'll shut up about it. But I just got to say the most overused word in sports vernacular, and I'm talking about not every recruit is elite. Not every recruit can be elite. I promise you. It's just not possible. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. You go ahead.
On that note,
that's two rants tonight. That's two.
It's two. We're hitting the quota. It's an exciting time, and I think that it'll be more so. I'm very excited. I'm still not like, all in on spring football. We got a lot of other things going on, but I am very excited to look forward to A-Day now that we're about a month out. I think that has more to do with anything, more to do with it being what we hope is a more traditional A-Day again. And that's just, especially after a weather weekend like this, like give me that. Give me this weekend's weather on A-Day. And I think you'll have a lot of people really excited. So it's a new time for Auburn spring football. And of course, spring is always happy when it comes back around. So I think that there's reason to be optimistic. Some of you want to nitpick, and that's probably what we're about to get into. And so there's plenty of that too. Yeah, why not?
Because apparently I didn't know we had so many just great college and high school and professional quarterback coaches out there.
We got a lot. Wish they would have spoken up before now.
I mean, really, where you been? What's been going on? Apparently, did you hear this, Austin, that there is something wrong with the throwing motion of Byron Brown, future Auburn starting quarterback for the 2026 season? Knock on wood, because of, you never know, just injuries and stuff. I'm not going to be the one. Then you're not going to clip me. I knocked on the wood here. So apparently something's wrong with his throwing motion. Austin, should we be concerned?
The throwing motion that he's had for multiple years, and also got him 3,000 passing yards last year.
But that's Austin, the throwing motion. USF. But Austin, it was at USF.
Well, in the SEC, we didn't come close to that, and every quarterback I saw that went out there last year, it looked a pretty normal throwing motion. So about time we dadgum try something new, I guess.
We'll try something different. Look, that's not a shot at.
Look, the best.
Let's just do something different.
Is it funky? Yes. Is it weird? Yeah, like the first clip I saw of him throwing, I thought, well, the first thing I thought was, that's going to get a lot of people stirred up. We talked about engagement earlier and rage baiting. I saw the clip. I said, oh yeah. Which, by the way, I think Auburn football leaned into more when they showed you the slow-mo clip of him throwing to Keyshawn Singleton.
Yep.
And from the very beginning, as slow as you can see, I said, oh yeah, they're leaning all the way in. Here's the thing. Tim Tebow had one like it. Colin Klein had one like it. There have been people throughout college football who do not throw normal. And who are you to determine what's normal? First of all, there have been people across the board who just get the job done and they do it their own way. And they're not, every year when we get to their turn in the draft is, well, he's got this weird throwing motion and it's not going to work in the NFL. I don't care. Best tweet I saw about it. I don't care if he goes out there throwing chest passes like it's the Dr. Pepper tuition contest if he moves the ball down the field. And that is amen to a T, 100% guarantee. If I don't care what happens as long as he's successful moving the offense down the field. I do not care that he's dragging it all the way down here. Obviously, he has overcompensated and it has worked for him in this offense for 2 years now. Will it work in the SEC? I don't know, but that probably you could say that about half the guys on this roster. Will the way Keyshawn Singleton runs his routes work in the SEC? Sure. Will Cole Best, the way he snaps the ball, work? Will that work in the SEC? I don't know. Neither do you. And so it's the most talking season spring football conversation I've ever seen or heard of. And I just knew as soon as I saw it on day one, I thought, here we go.
This has been the week of who can dunk on Auburn, who can stir them up. And unfortunately, we are criticizing mainly the people that bring that up. And it's not even criticism. It's just pointing out how ridiculous it is. But please do yourself, Auburn people, just don't engage with it. That's all they want. They just want to engage. And listen, I'm happy, like you said, Auburn leaned into it and, clearly gave a very subtle nod to find us. I mean,
it looks strange. I'm not denying that. Like looks, we're not used to that. Most people don't do that.
Yeah.
But it works for him. And if Alex Golish came in, who seems to be a pretty straightforward guy, and saw it and said, you know, I could change it or I could figure out how to use it. And he's still productive in my offense. Don't mess with it. And that's what they've done. And hey, they've put up a lot more points than Auburn has. So I'm fine with it.
I feel like there's a great kind of parody skit they can do, like when things have slowed down after spring with Byram and
I
just
would
something with Auburn media team. Like, I just feel like there's just gold there. Just
magnify how ridiculous this is to as much as you can. I would love it, especially if he goes out there and just does exactly what he's been doing at USF.
And let's play what if. Let's play what if he has just an amazing season for Auburn. I'm not saying what the results might be, just amazing season, and then somehow he picks up some trophy he won just in an odd way at the end of the season, just to throw shade back at the people who pointed it out back in spring.
What I want is the graphic of him winning the Heisman, and they have changed the Heisman player to have the ball down here. That's what I want.
That would be awesome.
Because this is so ridiculous of a conversation. It does not matter. It does not matter. Please go back and watch some. And here's probably the root issue of it is a lot of you weren't born and watched Tim Tebow play. Please go watch Tim Tebow throw the football highlight. That kid had the goofiest looking thing, but who cares? It won.
He won.
If that's the case, none of us care. If Auburn is 10-2 at the end of this year, none of us care. Yeah. I don't care now, but a lot of you won't care then either.
Absolutely. It'll be not even a laughing point. It'll be forgotten at this point. But of course, if things don't go well, that'll be the first thing that people blame and say, see, we told you so. I'm like, you didn't know, shut up. You didn't know, shut up. Just, oh my gosh. All right. So yes, we have to address that just with the we had to talk about it. So there's that. Other things of just good nature, I think that were good notes coming out this week. A lot of the conversations about the wide receivers. We know that the majority of them have left. The majority of them that are coming in are from USF. I'd say almost his entire wide receiver core, it feels like. Keyshawn Singleton, is the one that people are focusing on a lot. There was the highlight of that and all that stuff. And I did love the joke about all of this shenanigans this week. It's like, wait till they find out why Eric Singleton looks so different, now. It's just funny. But so there's the conversations around that. One that I want to point out, and maybe comments in general, Byron Brown talked about, in one of his interviews, that he just called his wide receivers dogs. And that's, that's in terms of being really good and all that. That's something to say when people have these expectations of the wide receiver core that Auburn has had.
That's good, according to the youth speak these days.
To the youth,
right?
To the youth. You're still part of the youth, Austin.
The youths consider that good.
You're still part of that, Austin. I hate to break it to you.
I got a 3 in front of my age. I can't be a youth anymore.
Oh, whatever. I want to hear now. I'm about to hit 4s, buddy. So I don't want to hear nothing. So he had some good things to say about them, but a lot of conversation around Chaz Nimrod this week. Mm-hmm. Interesting last name. You write your jokes if you want to, but he was hurt last year and didn't get to show a lot of it. But there's just Keyshawn Singleton's getting the looks. There's going to be maybe can Bryce Kane arise as one of the few ones that's left. That's probably the other big talking point there. What do you think? Is Chaz Nimrod going to be this little dark horse in the wide receiver room? Maybe a Malcolm Simmons type with the versatility, or just being utilized in every different way as a wide receiver? What do you think? What do you think about Chaz?
He's got former SEC experience, right? Obviously yes. At Tennessee with Golish, that's the connection there. He's known this offense as long as any of them, if not the most. And so had an injury that kept him from being to what he is the highest of what he can capably be. But I think that he's certainly one a lot of people have high hope for because of his SEC experience, obviously recruited to an SEC school. So he's got the build and one that is maybe has a little more of the, you hope the ceiling is higher. Sure. I think, and this is kind of more going back to all of them in a group setting, like Byron Brown calling them all dogs. I think that shouldn't surprise anyone just because this is his room he's been familiar with for years. This is his group. There is no, we talk about a lot every time a transfer comes in. How's he going to build that relationship? How's he going to build up that connection, that camaraderie?
It's there.
These guys know each other. They just put on a different polo. Like they are very familiar with each other. And he's got all the confidence in the world in them. So I don't put a lot of stock into that. I would hope he thinks they're dogs. I would hope he thinks that they're everything that Auburn needs and more. How much better can they be with Chaz Nimrod maybe fully healthy? I think that's a big question for a lot of people, and I think there's a lot of room to be excited for what he can be if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, you put Keyshawn Singleton, Koger, Nimrod, blanking on a few others there. There's Bryce Kane in the room. Sam Turner's back. All this. This is still an exciting room. I know it's not the big names that everybody was excited, and rightfully so, with the freeze four that we're hearing all that. But I mean, there's a lot to like in this room, and just to kind of finalize what we're talking about with Chaz Nimrod, I think there's something to this if you have some SEC experience, because in the conversation piece about is the USF group ready for the SEC, this person has at least been there once. Xavier Atkins was only with LSU for one season, and people, when I said that that's going to matter, said, nah, that's just not enough time. I think he would beg to differ in how he's performed thus far. I'm not saying it's going to be exactly the same story, but I think for Chaz, that's going to bode as well. I think the continuity, the connection that's already there, they don't have to focus on building the connection, the quarterback and wide receivers.
Big deal.
There. They could just move forward and start building the nuance and everything into this offense. So,
and look, you want to tie a bow on all this? I bet those pass catchers who caught a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns ain't worried about how far down that ball drops. Okay, it's the dumbest thing, Kyle. I saw it, and I was expectant of how ridiculous this fan base would be about something, but it just surpassed it. It still surpassed my expectations.
Every time
I should be used to it by now.
But it's just the way it is. People will just be stupid sometimes about what they'll react to, and also disingenuous about what their intentions are with some of their posts about it. I'm sorry. Being in this content creation game, I've learned to know when someone is doing a post for a reason or just doing a post because they're just being stupid and ridiculous. Like, there's a lot of that going on. So doesn't matter. Still good vibes coming out of the first week. I'm sure there'll be more storylines for us to talk about next week. All right, that's a long one for episode 166, folks. We're going to get out of here. Thanks for sticking with us on this one. I know there's a lot going on this evening, too, as you could tell throughout our show tonight, too. If you want to keep up with me, do so through email, e2cnetwork@gmail.com. DMs are open at E2C Network, most social media sites. Austin, where can they find you?
Yeah, at Austin G. Scott on just about anything. I got 2 boys turning 3 years old this week, Kyle. 2 boys turning 3 on Friday. Hard to believe, but we are very excited and proud of them. And we will be grilling out and I'm taking off, grilling out, making hot dogs for lunch. That's what they wanted. And taking them to an Italian place for their favorite thing, pasta, on Friday night before a big birthday party Saturday. So pumped to have 3-year-olds, and they live the Auburn dream as much as we do. So
shout out to Brooks and Barrett.
Happy birthday.
Happy early birthday from your father and from this random guy that y'all always are shy to talk to when I see you. So, one day they'll actually talk to me, I guess, maybe.
One day.
All right, folks, thanks for hanging out. Till we talk to you again, thank you for being here. I'll remind you, the Auburn Creed asks you to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same. War Eagle.
War Eagle.